Hey there, movie fans. The first topic I want to discuss today is that I saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 finally. I thought this movie was fantastic. Now, I'm a big Mission Impossible fan. I will say one thing, I actually didn't start loving the movies until Mission Impossible 3. Like, I enjoyed the original movie, but it's one of those movies that, I liked, but I have some issues with. Like, still entertaining the original movie, but it's not one of my favorite movies. The second one I didn't like. Mission Impossible 3 and beyond this franchise has been fantastic. Like, I loved every single movie since Mission Impossible 3, and this movie continues that quality. Kept me on the edge of my seat. It has great tension. Actually, this might be one of the darkest movies in the Mission Impossible series. It has great comedy in there when it needs to be. Loved all the scene, like some of the returning characters from the original movie and characters from past movies. Loved the new character, the actress who played Peggy Carter in the MCU movies and the Peggy Carter show. She was fantastic in this movie. I thought her and Tom Cruise had like great chemistry, and I just everybody was great in this movie. Like all the previous cast that have been part of this franchise, they're all fantastic in this movie. This is one of the best action movies this year. Like these movies just keep doing a great job with action too. The story's great. I love the villain in this movie. How it's somebody that's connected to Ethan. Tom Cruise character's Ethan past before he joined IM, which is I think it was. I think they call it Impossible Mission Force in the movie. So I love this character is connected to Ethan's past. I thought that was really cool. Somebody we haven't seen, but before he joined. So I thought it made it personal, which I love. The villain was great. Who played the villain in this movie? That's after Ethan. But the main thing of this movie I thought was also great with AI. I love the idea of just AI being adept with how, like, I mean, you have the whole thing with actors right now with the fact fighting for the likeness when AI uses that. We have Secret Invasion did the opening with AI. Where AI did the opening for that show. So it's definitely relevant, this theme of AI in the time right now. And I thought it did a great job of making it feel like having you have the main bad guy, but you also have this bigger threat that I loved. They gave a good tension, and I just felt like mostly invested in the story. In this movie, I believe this movie's this is a long movie, and it never feels to me like it feels like one of those movies that is slowed down when tracked. Like it kept me, like I said, on the edge of my seat every moment. I couldn't wait to see what happens next. It has some really great twists and turns with the story. But yeah, this was to me another fantastic movie in this franchise. And I definitely recommend people go to see this movie in theaters. I mean, I know this budget for this movie got extremely high because they kept having to stop and go because of COVID. So it's the highest budget movie in the franchise. Oh, and if you're worried about this movie ending on a cliffhanger, this movie does a great job like Infinity War when it comes to Infinity War and Endgame, where like those two movies, this movie tells a complete story. It sets up for part two because it's called part one, but it still does a great job of being able to tell a complete story for this movie. So I highly recommend people go out and see this movie in theaters because this movie deserves to be, like, in my opinion, be doing better than what it's doing in theaters right now. So definitely highly recommend this Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. The next thing I want to talk about is Barbie and Oppenheimer news, which I love seeing the meme going around that was called like Barbie Oppenheimer. I love seeing that meme, and I love the fact that tickets were selling out for people to see both movies double features wise. Because look, I'm not interested in the Barbie movie. I'll probably watch it when it's available at Disney because it's going to be one of the biggest movies this year. Because it opened really big, so it's obviously going to make a lot of money. But I just love that it's created a meme. I love that it's got people excited to go out in the theaters. And again, an example that shows that look, people are still excited to go to theaters. It's just to me, it comes down to people are more picky right now, and and in a year you're gonna have movies that do well, and movies that do well. So you never know with the box office. But the news I want to talk about is the fact that these movies exceeded expectations. I mean, Barbie, which I thought both movies were gonna open big, but Barbie opened to 155, biggest opening of the year. Because I believe Super Mario opened to like the 143 area, so it beat out Super Mario for the biggest opening of the year. I love hearing that. Apparently it's the biggest opening for a female director. That's awesome. 'Cause I think Captain Marvel was the biggest for this. And this is apparently, I think like this is like the fourth biggest opening weekend for more than one movie coming out. So I love seeing that. And again, I just love seeing that this created like this whole meme and just seeing people go out in theaters again. And you know what? I love hearing that both movies getting great reviews because like I said, I'll probably watch Barbie when it comes available with Disney. I'm gonna see Oppenheimer in theaters. But I'm always like, to me, I'm one of those people that's always like, I'm always happy to see movies, even if I'm not interested in. I'm happy to see movies doing well critically and financially. Because in my opinion, the more movies do well, the more people go back to the theaters. So I love hearing this news about all these records that Barbie was breaking, how both movies exceeded expectations. Like Oppenheimer, I think was projected to open between like 40 and 60, but it opened to like 82, which exceeded expectations. And I believe the buzz for that movie is only 100, so it already made more than its buzzing and more. So I love seeing both movies just doing really well. It's just because I know this year has been up and down at the box office, so I love seeing this personally. And hopefully when I watch these movies, they turn out to be fun and great. But just as a movie fan, love seeing it at the box office. Like did fantastic this past weekend. The next thing I'll talk about is they put out a final trailer for Teen Mutant Mayhem that shows the praise that the early reactions were giving it. I thought this trailer was great. This movie just looks really fun. I love the voices. I really am loving the voices now. Like I love kind of the teenager side that they actually hire teenager actors to play these characters. And all the other voice cast sounds great. Like all the actors you have in this, and the trailers look great. Like I love the animation style. Like it looks like Spider Verse. Like I said, no past videos, but it also looks kind of like a like wall painting. So it has its own unique style too. So it just looks great, and I talked about it in one of my past videos how it's been getting like great early reactions, and this trailer just makes me even more excited again. It's just this movie just looks fantastic. Like I'm a big Turtles fan. Like I love the original animated series. I love the 2003 series. I love the 2012 series. But for me, I haven't loved the Turtles movie since the original '90s movie. Like I thought Secret of Use was decent. I liked the animated TMNT movie that came out. I think it was 2007. But for me, there hasn't been a great Turtles movie since the original '90s movie. So I'm really hoping this is the one that like makes me fall in love with with a Ninja Turtles film again. But yeah, trailer wise, looks fantastic. I think the trailer looks great. I think they definitely got the teenager vibe. Voice cast sounds fantastic. Like I said, love the animation style. Can't wait for this movie. Next thing I want to talk about is news that Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves was. I really said it was one of my favorites. I believe as more people saw it, that it might get a sequel under one major condition, and that's it. If they can find a way to cut the budget down, because the first Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves, cost I think 170 or something like that plus marketing. I love hearing this news because this is a movie that deserved to do so much better. Like I remember this movie came out in Moss, and this was a one movie in Moss that didn't do well. Like if I had to pick movies this year that I love that I felt like should have done better, well, it would be Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One, The Flash, and Dungeons and Dragons and Honor Among Thieves is definitely one of them. Where I'm just like, this movie should have done better. Like that was a great movie, and I wish more people saw it. I'm so happy to hear that there's a chance that they might do a sequel. Now, them cutting the budget down to do a sequel, I'll be fine with if it means we can get a sequel to the movie. I do hope that doesn't like affect the quality if they do a sequel with the budget cut down. But if they bring back the same people who did the first one, I mean, love to see a continuation of this world. That movie did a great job setting up the world, the characters. Like I love the characters, I love the world in that movie. So I really hope this happens. Like I definitely want to see a sequel to that Dungeons and Dragons movie. As somebody who wasn't even a Dungeons and Dragons fan, that movie actually made me like a big fan of the IP. So I personally, like I said, if you haven't seen Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, watch the movie if you haven't seen it. If you didn't see the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, because it's a great movie. I think even if you're not a fan, you're gonna end up really enjoying that movie. So I'm excited to hear that there may be a chance that they could do a sequel. The next thing I want to talk about is the Exorcist Believer trailer. Let me say this: I love the original Exorcist movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I wasn't a fan of Exorcist 2 or 3. And I'm excited for this movie because of the fact that it's a direct sequel to the original. And they brought back the actress who played the mom of the daughter in the first movie. So I was happy to see they brought back one of the original actors. The only thing that makes me worried about this movie is the director. And that's because the same guy who did the Halloween shows. I had fun with the 2018 Halloween movie. I even had a decent time with Halloween Kills. But Halloween Ends I didn't like. And overall, that trilogy kind of felt like to me like the sequel Star Wars trilogy, where I liked 2 out of the 3 movies, hated one of them, but I didn't love any of them. So I'm a little worried about the director choice. But trailer-wise, I thought this was a great trailer. I thought it kept the horror vibes, creepy vibes. I really love the story they have in this trailer about these 2 kids that get lost and then they find them. And the demon definitely comes off creepy in the trailer that takes over the 2 kids. And it just has like a great, like, I don't know, horror, tense vibe in the trailer to me. So I thought this was a great trailer. This definitely made me excited for the movie. And hopefully this turns out to be one of those Shrek sequels that's as great or better than the original. But yeah, I thought this was a great first trailer, and I can't wait for this movie. Until next time, movie fans.